There's something truly terrifying about the unknown. When the comfort of your own home, the isolation of a remote location, or even the space above your head turns into something sinister. These are 3 horrifying true stories that will make you question just how alone you really are. If you enjoy these chilling tales, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because you never know what's lurking just out of sight. Story 1. The Man in the Vents. I don't know how long he was living in my apartment before I noticed. The thought alone makes me sick. A year ago, I was living alone in a small, cheap apartment. Nothing fancy, just a 1-bedroom unit in an old building. The kind of place where the walls are thin, and you can hear your neighbors arguing through the vents. I worked the night shift at a hotel, which meant I usually got home around 3 a.m. I'd make something to eat, watch something on my laptop, and then crash until the afternoon. It wasn't exciting, but it was my life. And then, things started happening. At first, they were small. My kitchen cabinets would be open when I knew I had closed them. The bathroom door would be cracked when I always left it shut. I brushed it off. Maybe I was just exhausted. Then I started hearing things. A soft shuffle, a faint tap, a quiet creak, like weight shifting against floorboards. It was always late at night when I was cooking or watching something with my headphones on. One night, that feeling of unease became reality. It was around 3 a.m. and I was in the kitchen making ramen when I heard it. A whisper, not words, just breath. I froze. The sound was coming from the vent above the stove. Slowly, I stepped onto a chair and leaned in closer. Silence. And then, a soft exhale. My blood ran cold. I jumped down, my hands shaking. I knew I wasn't imagining it. Someone was there. I called my best friend, Daniel, whispering, "I think someone's in my apartment." That woke him up. He told me to get out, but I couldn't move. My legs felt like lead. Slowly, I reached for the vent cover, gripping the edges with sweaty hands. It popped off with a soft crack. I hesitated, then lifted my phone flashlight and shined it inside. And that's when I saw them. Eyes. Bloodshot, wide, unblinking, staring at me from the darkness. I screamed and stumbled back, dropping my phone. Inside the vent, something shuffled, moving fast. Then, a bang, like something heavy shifting. Daniel was yelling through the phone, but I was already running. I bolted out of my apartment and didn't stop until I was outside. When the cops arrived, they found signs of tampering in the vents, leading to the vacant apartment next door. Inside, they found a sleeping bag, empty food wrappers, a pile of clothes. Someone had been living there, watching me. I don't know how long he had been inside my walls, waiting, moving around my apartment when I wasn't home. I moved out the next day, but sometimes in the silence of my new apartment, I still swear I hear whispering. Story 2. The Man in My Attic. I always thought I was rational. I didn't believe in ghosts. I didn't scare easily. But last winter changed everything. It started small. Things in my apartment weren't where I left them. Food went missing. I brushed it off. Maybe I was just distracted. Then, late one night, I heard it. A soft scratching coming from above me. My heart froze. I live alone. There shouldn't be any noise coming from the ceiling. The next morning, I glanced up at the attic hatch in my hallway. It was slightly open. That night, the noises came again. Scratching, soft breathing, then a creak like someone shifting their weight. I couldn't ignore it anymore. I grabbed a flashlight and slowly pulled the attic ladder down. Cold air rushed past me as I shined the light into the darkness. And then, I saw them. 2 bloodshot eyes staring right at me. I stumbled back, flashlight shaking. A man was crouched in the corner, thin, gaunt, wearing ragged clothes, grinning. He had been living above me, watching me. I slammed the attic shut and called the cops, locking every door and window as my hands trembled. When they arrived, they found evidence he had been up there for weeks. Food wrappers, blankets. He had been sneaking down at night, watching me sleep. I still have nightmares about those eyes in the darkness. And now, every time I hear a creak, I wonder, am I truly alone? Story 3. The Cabin in the Storm. I don't think I was supposed to survive that night. I still don't know who or what I encountered out there. But if I had made one wrong move, I don't think I'd be here to tell the story. It happened last winter. I had planned a solo trip to a remote cabin deep in the mountains. A chance to disconnect from everything. No work, no stress, just me, nature, and absolute silence. The place I rented was about 10 miles from the nearest town, with no neighbors in sight. The perfect getaway. Or so I thought. The first 2 days were peaceful. I read by the fire, hiked through the snow-covered trails, and just enjoyed the isolation. But on the third night, a storm rolled in. Not just any storm. The wind howled like a living thing, rattling the windows, and snow fell so thick I could barely see past the porch. It felt like the world outside was disappearing. Then, around midnight, I heard it. A knock. Soft, deliberate. Just 3 taps on the door. I froze. There was no reason, no possible reason why someone would be out here. Not in this weather. Not at this hour. I stood up slowly, my heart hammering. Another knock came. This time a little harder. I moved to the window, careful not to make a sound. The porch light flickered, but I could just barely make out a figure standing in the snow. It was a man, or at least it looked like a man. His clothes were wrong, thin, tattered, like he wasn't dressed for the storm at all. His head was tilted downward, hiding his face in the shadows. I reached for my phone, but of course I had no signal. The landline inside the cabin was dead too. Another knock. Louder this time. I don't know why, but I had the overwhelming feeling that I should not open that door. That if I did, something terrible would happen. I cleared my throat, trying to sound steady, and asked, "Hello? Can I help you?" The figure didn't move. I waited, barely breathing. Then, finally, in a low, raspy voice, he spoke. "Let me in." Something about the way he said it made my stomach turn. Not a request, a command. I didn't answer. Then I noticed something. The snow. There were no footprints leading up to my porch. I felt ice crawl up my spine. My cabin was miles from anywhere. How had he gotten here? I backed away, my hands shaking. The knocking started again, faster, more frantic. I grabbed the fireplace poker, holding it like a weapon. Then the knocking stopped. For a long time, there was silence. I forced myself to peek through the curtain. The porch was empty. The man was gone. Or so I thought. A sound made me turn around, a whisper, low and slithering, coming from inside the cabin. "Let me in." I spun toward the bedroom door. It was open. I hadn't left it open. Shadows pooled in the corner of the room, shifting, stretching. I ran. I don't even remember grabbing my coat. I just remember yanking the door open and sprinting into the storm. The cold sliced through me, but I didn't stop. I didn't stop running until I saw headlights in the distance, plow workers clearing the mountain roads. They found me half frozen, delirious, mumbling about something being inside my cabin. When the police checked the place, they found the front door wide open, but no footprints, no sign of forced entry. And the strangest part, the landowner told them the cabin had been empty for years. No one had rented it to me. No record of my booking. No record of my payment. Like I was never supposed to be there. Like something lured me there. I don't know what I escaped that night, but whatever it was, it almost had me. If you ever hear strange noises at night, don't ignore them. Stay safe. And if you enjoyed these stories, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications. You never know what might be lurking, just out of sight.